Yo, 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 what is up, everyone? It's Mini TV here, and this is DPC Digest, the podcast that has some of the best analysis of the European upper division Dota games. Look at that upper division. Unique analysis, so unique. Let me introduce you to my fine friends to start things off. Firstly, a semi professional, diamond rated Overwatch player with the only thing bigger than his Dota knowledge is probably his receding hairline, Mr.
Wow.
Super Batman.
That's how I always want to be introduced in future. Wow.
Secondly, an incredibly famous YouTuber with over 59,000. Wait, no, just 59 subscribers.
59
Is
boys.
Dreader911. I mean, what a name. Although, probably the only social demographic group that dreads you seeing you is probably children. But, moving swiftly on. Let's look at some of the game reviews, shall we? Obviously, we had Secrets game against Viking. Jazz, you want to talk us through that?
Oh, it was a beautiful game. Absolutely beautiful. Can we just say, first of all, Yapsaw, is he the best position 4 in the world? I think he is. He may be the best position 4, but he's probably not the best interviewer. Let's be honest. If you saw his interview, it's a bit boring. But anyway, game 1, you're looking at 3 team fights, and the game was over. Matumba Man on his PL. The commentators were a bit unsure of Troll's Witchblade straight into Ags, which he then used just to farm for like 20 odd minutes. That was a bit weird rather than fighting. That was a bit weird. Nice. And I think that was the problem. Secret literally did whatever they want all game. They were like, we want to farm. We're just going to farm. We're going to farm. We're going to just avoid. It was hardly any actual kills in this game early on. Yeah. And then, boom, they instantly won a team fight. I think they wiped the entire team in game 1, like the first one. And then the second one, again, complete team wipe. And then that was
quite really passive game 2, wasn't it, really? Like, not much really happened. Huge. And then Sigurd got their items and they just rolled face. I mean, one thing I'm kind of surprised about, though, is that, like, with that series being a quick 2-0, now it leaves Viking. They've played 2 series, they've lost both of them, but they've lost them in like pretty convincing fashion. The last series, I remember the week before, was against Liquid. They got 2-0 stomped as well, and the same goes for Secret. Obviously, like maybe the 2 of the strongest teams perhaps in the group, you could say. So they had like a bad run, but definitely not very good. And then
was great as well in one of those team fights, zipping around everywhere. I think he had an arcane room that really helped. But it's definitely, I mean, all I can say is just Yapsaw in these 2 games. I mean, that Shaker, he was just unbelievably good. And then game 2, him as the Rubik as well, just stealing all the spells. I mean, most of the things that he was doing, they'd already won the game by that time anyway, but he was just stealing ultis left, right and centre, ruptures off Bloodseeker and all sorts. And they literally, at no point did I really think, ooh, Secret are in a bit of trouble here?
Yeah.
Literally, they just did whatever they wanted.
Did the business.
Those 2 games, over.
Did the business, mate.
In game 2, at 15 minutes, Secret were up 10.
Yeah, I wanted a review, Jazz, not an indirect sort of analysis, right? Your analysis is done, right, George? Talk to me about OG, which I think was probably my favourite series. No one cared about Secret versus Viking, because Viking got stomped. OG series, however, was interesting.
Right, so I mean, I go into this as an OG fan, so naturally I want OG to win. Game 1 is 27 minutes long, and 27 minutes of OG getting totally annihilated by S4. Basically, it started off bad, and it got worse. And basically, OG never even got a foot in that game. S4 made sure of that.
The boars.
Yeah, the boars, the Necro book. I mean, who was it? Who played the Ember Spirit? Who played him?
Mid one.
Yeah. That didn't go well.
Got dumped, mate. Got dumped on.
He got dumped on. Anyway, that's that. Alliance just bossed it.
It was an interesting one I want to talk to you about, actually, because obviously Alliance, that game 1, Alliance had a position 5 Earthshaker, which, like, if you go like years and years back, it was something that like PPD used to do as position 5 Earthshaker. Then it fell off completely. However, I think it's coming back now simply because of the shard, like the ability to have aftershock all around the fissure. It means that you don't even need a blink dagger, so you can play it as position 5 that you don't need a blink. And I thought that was a really nice thing, actually. FNG played fantastic, and then sorry, go on. But just game 2, but no, I thought it was interesting.
Definitely, but game 1 was. I mean, OG didn't even have a foot in that game. Game 2, again, they start strong with a strong offlane Timbersaw. The one thing I really like, and again, you can count me on this because I'm not good with drafts, but I like the fact that because the Timbersaw was so dominant but couldn't push, they also had the Nature's Prophet as like
yeah.
he was like the balance in that
For
draft
sure.
that allowed them to have that strong offlaner that can just go in and be unkillable, but yet at the same
Can't do
time, it's not like they
objectives.
win.
Yeah.
They can still get objectives.
With
So
the tramp. See, and George, you said you can't give analysis. That is that is some beautiful analysis right there. Look at that.
my player of the series, although I wanted OG to do well, had to be S4, who was
He was
basically
popping off. To be fair,
won that. Yeah,
I mean that
Absolutely.
game 2 was insane though, because like it was so back and forth. I remember like Alliance, the Timbersaw off the back of S4's performance, I give him a big lead, and then out of nowhere, like OG just started popping off, killing with like Ricky was getting involved. When he got the Battle Fury Ags, I thought, oh, this is the time where they're gonna roll over and stomp him. And then like he died once. He didn't get BKB. He got maybe a bit too greedy with like the Daedalus pickup. Oh, it was crazy. And then
it looks like once they had all the crowd control and Ricky was getting into the game, it looked like comeback could be on, but the push came in and Alliance. They convincingly won that series. They convincingly won that series.
They did, but I thought I think I love about OG, right, is that every single time like you think they're down and out, right? Because like at that moment, like Ricky started popping off. He was getting like the Battle Fury Ags. He was going really strong. Then he died once or twice because he didn't get BKB. And then Alliance, PA was starting to pop off, and you think, oh, this game's going to be over. But then OG out of nowhere, Ricky picks up a rapier and he kills PA like twice without buyback. And I was like, this is OG in a nutshell. Like how they turn games from losing positions, I don't know. And then, but then they end up like a game ending like was insane though. Like there was a massive team fight around Roche, and then like Nature's Prophet just TPs and just rats him and like thrones him. While it's like typical Alliance as well. Like Prophet, like
they're fighting mega creeps. It was kind of like it was just,
but what a series though. It made it.
Am I wrong in saying
what a series?
Prophet was position 5?
He was 5, and that's
why
I thought
position 5 wins the game for you.
Yeah, but like it was crazy. Like we actually have a video of the ending of that game because I thought it was the best game of the series without a doubt. But yeah, thanks for that, George. And then, of course, and then we had Liquid versus High Coast Esports. Again, kind of a bit of a shellacking by Liquid, really.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was definitely kind of interesting. They played like a Venge mid, rushed Ags, kind of a high tempo draft, and just kind of walked down lanes. They had the Kotl Bristle as well, and it was just a really kind of fast group up and go, and then game 2 was even quicker. But what was really cool is they actually put Boxy mid on Invoker, which is a hero that Quakefor doesn't play. Obviously Quakefor is the mid laner, but he ended up playing offlane Viper, and it's just really interesting to sort of see this is the one team I think in almost all of the DPC in all regions where all these players are playing like different roles. So like Boxy is played mid, obviously Invoker, then before he's played like position 4 and have the Tiger as the offlaner. Mickey played mid like Zeus the series before. Like all these players and I think they're focusing more on their heroes and their role than it is that their actual like role or lane, which I think is a really cool aspect for Liquid.
Absolutely.
That sort of sums up the week games that have just sort of gone past. I think it was a really good week. Again, if you haven't watched the OG versus Alliance series, I think that's definitely the one to watch. So we'll move on to sort of the good and sort of poor heroes of the week section. I think, I don't know about you, but I thought Kotl probably for me was the hero of the week. It kind of featured in almost every game in some form or another, whether it was banned or if it was picked. And I just looked up some of the statistics as well, actually. Out of all the DPC, it's a win rate of 57% over 166 games.
Wow.
And 57% is really high considering like that many games. And then just in the European upper division, 75% win rate, but that's in 8 games.
Wow.
I think the hero is just so strong, man. Like, and then it still has its old ultimate with Ags, really, really good. I don't know if there was any other heroes you thought that maybe are worth a mention this week, but
I really liked the Earthshaker. Not just in the secret game, but there was
the Alliance game, obviously. The Alliance plays position 1 on the 5.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was someone that again didn't really show up at all last week.
No, it's definitely different. Yeah, I think you're right.
Like very, very powerful. That shard has got to be one of the best.
I think it is the best. Absolutely. Almost one of the best.
I mean, did you see top where I can't remember who it was that did it, but they used their ulti, didn't hit anyone.
Yeah,
but
just for
to
the
keep
aftershock.
Thompson-
Yeah, the aftershock.
that was great.
Yeah,
Just for the
yeah.
aftershock, like things like that, it made
Yeah,
him a lot
FNG.
more easier to play
Yeah.
without that blink and that lot. So
No,
I like
definitely.
that
I think Earthshaker is definitely a hero. We didn't see much in the first week, but we saw him a lot this week, and I'm assuming we're going to see him more going forward as well, because I think he has that flex, able to play 4 and 5, and maybe even off lane in some drafts. I think it's pretty cool. I just want to mention probably one of the worst heroes of the week, Grimstroke. I think one of the worst 5s that can be picked, and then also you have the trap of some mid laners picking him up as well. But just looking at some stats. 36% win rate over all the DPC, 94 games, 36% win rate, pretty poor, and even lower in the upper division, 28% in 7 games so 1 out of 6. I just don't think the hero's good. Stop picking it, basically, if you want to win games. The top teams aren't really playing him, and that could maybe be why it's not doing too well, but I think that might be an indicator as well, you know.
George, I think you suddenly got muted, by the way.
Yeah, I think you're muted, George. I can't hear you for some reason.
Can't hear you at all. Dad is now not talking. That's
Hello,
fine.
George.
Also,
Can you hear
Lion
Sorry.
was awful. But yeah, so I don't know if we've lost George. George is looking at us, but he's not saying
George,
anything.
wave if you can hear us. Give us a wave. Oh, we can hear you. Hello?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
We're all
can hear
good.
you now.
We're all good. We're all
Yeah,
good.
we're all good. Can you hear us? There might be a bit of lag. Yeah, there's a bit of
Let
lag.
me
That's what it
let's
is.
have a disconnect and we'll get back to it. 1 sec. All right. Hopefully that is the end of our technical difficulties, and just in time actually to move away from last week's game to have a look at the plays, and then we'll move on to this week's games.
As he gets the tree caught down onto 2, separated them. We've got Nisha trying to go for Celery, but Celery's out with the Glimmer Cape. Zai popping the Exorcism. They're starting to spam the Lancers in onto Boom. Boom gets the lockdown with the lasso, but Boom is falling low. Zai able to buy time here with the self-kills. Viking with the remainder of the BKBs. Can they actually kill off Zai? No, Zai's got the movement. He's able to step out to the side. Zai's going to live. Matthew's starting to move in. Fisher out onto the forward, going to follow up with the Agile. Look at the Yamsor. He's in with the Echo. One of the 3 of them. Shuts down. He's dead and gone for 70 seconds. And they're just cleaning them up one by one. They're going to be able to get the team wipe off the back of that secret.
Almost feel like I want 33 to show up and defend. Yeah, okay, he is. I was like, this Viper has to show up to all of these tower fights.
Viper's in. Thompson able to dodge the rolling boulder in time. Connection will still be on to no tail, but the ult is popped. TP heading over for Fada. Thompson continue to make some big hits here with the DD rune. As 33, he'll fall. He's out of action. The Maledict though, and the poison damage killing Thompson. Thompson's probably going to pop here. Off to the side, Saxon comes in with the stun. 9 trapped in by the Sprout. Thompson is still alive. He did indeed avoid that final bit of damage with the timing of the Remnant movement, making sure that tick came in whilst he was invulnerable.
I think at the first tick, he also dodged a little bit of as well when he did.
Alliance, a pretty formidable fight around the pit, and Alliance know it. They're a little cautious on how they commit for this. They know that OG's going to come in and try and make the jump. And there it is. Actually, it's going to be Lim starting things off. It looks to commit in with the BKB. They're able to catch out, take down Saxon. Spike Carapace set up onto Seb with CS4 running towards the backlines, trying to split OG apart. Thompson comes in with a combo mid one, jumps over the BKB coming out from Nico Baby as Nico Baby's out of the tricks of the trade. He's on the retreat. Mid one's looking for a target to chase. He's able to get in. Zimone plays down onto the PA and they've got the damage with this rapier. Mid one claims the double kill. See what S4 can do to put a stop to this. Mid one's actually keeping out. He's got to defend the base. He has to get back to the tier 4s. Seb's getting run down by S4. Can Seb get himself away from this? Another Yule's up, buying time for Limp to close the gap. In with the remnant. Seb down for 2 minutes. Mid one's out on the map. He's got the silence onto Limp. Limp getting taken out. The crits come into play. Mid one gets the kill. Limp buy back immediately. Nico Baby in with the bash control, but Mid one's still got the BKB good to go. There's the avalanche drop down. On the chase. He's over towards S4. S4 chaining out to the side. Another jump with the tricks of the trade. That's PA down and out. A dieback on Nico Baby. Mid one just tearing them apart here with the rapier.
Got their base. Oh god! No tell the solo kill FNG.
Oh my goodness. But definitely even more difficult for Alliance to find the Ricky. As long as Mid one's able to keep himself to the side and be truly confident in his whereabouts of Alliance's hero's positioning before he commits in. They're going for the Roche. Alliance are all back up. They're going to take this Roche down pretty quickly with that rapier damage.
It has to be quick because the lanes are pushing in.
Seb just scouting things out with the Wind Panda, able to hold people back as well. OG, they're going to be able to get this cleaned up. Who's taking what? Thompson, he's going to take the axe. As now they're chased in, they've got the catch on the S4. Limp jumping in with the BKB, trying to help out. How can they burst him out? The base is dying though. Tier 4s are falling. If Alliance could just sort of keep OG out and distracted, the Treants might just do it. The first tier 4 down, the second tier 4 down as well. As OG, they may be getting the kills, but they've got to get back. FNG's in, he's looking to close this down. The Treants are doing it. FNG's going to be around the game. He's got it. Surely Thompson is trying to hold them off, but the creeps, they've finished it. Alliance will win the game. I mean, Alliance. I mean, it wouldn't be any other team on a sort of victory like that at the end.
Oh!
Wow, that was amazing. Really, truly amazing.
Wow!
So let's move on to this week, some of the talking points, shall we?
I think I'm gone.
No, we can hear you, but maybe you are gone. Who knows?
Just
We're just
super
gonna
lagging, that's
we're
all.
just gonna
We're gonna
carry on
carry on.
talking. So hard roster locks. This is something that I wanted to sort of talk to you guys about last week, because obviously the season's going on for like 7 weeks in a row, and you can only make roster changes. Roster changes after the season ends and like after the major, which happens after the season. What's the question, George? Have you got one?
I can't speak.
No worries, we'll carry on. Yeah, hard roster locks. So, I mean, I just want to talk to it because actually, interestingly enough, Ramsey had a tweet, I think earlier today, about how he was released from contract with EG, but obviously people like Ramsey, Samau, No One, Nine Pasha, they all don't have a team at the moment, and that's a bit of a problem because they're almost guaranteed they're going to miss the first major because obviously they can't join in this season at the moment, and if they do join in the next season to get to the second major, then the team that they join will lose like 15%, I think, DPC points. So not only will the team not want to do that in the first place, if they do, then they might not get to TI anyway because they've just reduction in 15% DPC points. So potentially speaking, these big name players, Samau, No One, Ramses, Nine Pasha, who have been to almost every TI that they've competed in, are not going to be there for TI 11, which is crazy. And so I'm wondering if this is a bad thing, really, in terms of these hard roster locks.
It does seem it, doesn't it? I mean, 15%. I think the only teams that would take on one of these kind of players are the people who are thinking maybe we're not really going to get any DPC points anyway, unless we get these heroes. These players.
They are heroes of Dota, but they're not literal heroes.
No, exactly. So
My
for instance,
hero!
for instance, like teams like Tundra or Heiko Esports, ones that may not get any because they're not going to do very well in any kind of major. Well, it's worth the risk of 15% if feel like you could get some people that are.
True, but the thing is, will people like Samau even want to join these teams? Like, I feel like heroes play. Yeah, well, I don't know. You say it's no better, but like, I'm sure people have like approached Samau and No One, and maybe not so sure about Ramsey. So no, he just said he was released from contract like now. So I don't know whether he was on a contract he couldn't play, but definitely Samau would have been like approached by some of these tier 2 like NA teams, or in the case of like Ramses and No One, and some like tier 2 CIS teams. But the thing you have to think about as well, these players have all of these players actually that I mentioned have massive egos. So I kind of feel like if it's not a tier 1 team, like they do not want to be they don't want to touch it. Basically,
I can't imagine many tier 1 teams taking that negative of a DPC. It's just not worth it for one extra player.
I mean, unless you're Twitch chat and they say, just get rid of Weeha for Samau on Nigma, then I think you're probably right. But I think, honestly, I Samau, No One, and Ramses especially. Nine Pasha, he's good. He used to play on the old Na'Vi, but I think the big three are definitely Samau, No One, and Ramses. And I think these are tier 1 players, and I feel like all the tier 1 teams that they're all locked up. They're all like they've all got their rosters ready. They don't want to be changing, I don't think, really. And if they do, it will be in the second roster locks. It's just a shame that we miss that because of how the roster locks are happening. But I got a question
You
for
want
you,
to see
George.
the
I'm
best
sorry.
players.
Yeah, go on. You go.
I was going to say, you do want to see the best players playing in the best tournaments, don't you? Though, like
You do.
Yeah.
that's with anything, sport or whatever.
Yeah. I was going to say,
Definitely.
George. So, do you think we were, like I said to Jazz, like people, players like Samau, No One, Ramses. Do you think if they join a tier 2 team and they don't succeed, does that mean their stock has been reduced? So like they're holding out for like this tier 1 team. If it doesn't come, then that's fine. They'll just wait around. But if they join a tier 2 team and then do like mediocre, does that mean that people will look at them differently? Will they be like, actually, they're not that good? Do they lose that stock because of like going on a lesser team? Do you think? George?
I'm sorry, really laggy. I can't hear
No,
you
it's
very
all
well.
good.
But
Like, yeah,
you're
basically,
asking
does
me
their
basically,
stock
do they
reduce?
lose their?
Yeah.
I think yeah. I mean, if you're not playing, like, I mean, I don't think if their accomplishments they've made in the past are always going to be with them. But I mean, anyone that's not playing is not contributing to their own reputation. So
I guess
I would
so.
say you have to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? Is like, because right now, like Samau's reputation, shall we say, is like frozen, right? In some aspect, it's frozen, yeah. So it's not getting any better because he's not playing, but it's also not getting any worse. Maybe that's an argument to say. And so, like, if he's, let's say, okay, like, so NA region, obviously, like top 2 only get to major. If he joins a team that becomes third, then does his stock automatically become worse because he's played on the team now, but he didn't make it to the major? Now, like, his stocks, so like in future he won't get on a T1 team because he's like, oh, look at his result, he got this, so it's like,
Yeah,
but the question is like, where do you draw the line, and how, it's like a game of chicken, like how long do you wait out for a tier 1 team, Jazz?
I don't know. I think the way that it's set up at the moment, this DPC punishment is just too high. I think, yeah, I understand having roster locks in between majors, but I think, like all sports, there needs to be a transfer window without a team being that heavily penalised.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get any changes, which I guess is, I know it is a good thing, because you're making sure the team is secure and you're making sure the players are secure. But like George said, you want the best players. Like, you'd never imagine in football them going, no, we can't have any new up-and-coming players because if we do, we lose 15 points in the Premier League. It just doesn't happen. You want the best players up and coming.
Yeah.
Or older, better players, veterans,
True. I mean, there's definitely the argument to be made about the whole, is it a good thing for stability, like these roster locks? Normally there's been the argument that Dota has been very unstable. Like, teams are switching players so many times, you don't know who's on the teams, and it's hard for fans to support teams and follow teams because they're like, oh, who's on this team? Like, I don't really know. There's no storyline, there's no backstory, there's no support. Like, in the Premier League, for example, like if Suarez goes off to Barcelona, you still support Liverpool, whereas in Dota, a lot of people are supporting players more so than teams, because one player is 20% of a team. So it is definitely an interesting argument to be had. I think he just would be a shame. I think, honestly, for a player like Samau, Ramses, and No One, they have to be playing regardless. I think I'm on the opinion of George as well. They just have to be there, because whether they make it to a, like, maybe if they don't make it or they're not good, I think it's got to be better as well. And do you not have that, I don't know, a competitive kind of hunger that you want to be playing, whether it's not the best or not? But regardless, they're not playing at the moment. Just quickly moving on to another topic point as well. The Overwatch system has, George, not actual Overwatch. I don't know if you've even heard of that. The Overwatch system is in Dota, not the actual game, but it's in Dota now, where you can review. Basically, it's a behavior system released in Dota now to improve toxicity and griefers in games, because you can be judge, jury, and executioner to your fellow Dota players. I actually got a chance to try it out. Actually, I had a case
Did you?
reviewed to me, yeah, and it was a silencer that bought Shadow Amulet and AFK'd mid and bought all the wards and blocked all his camps and stuff. And I banned him and sent him flying down into low priority. So it was actually a good day of justice. I thought.
Good.
Actually.
That's pretty good. I like it.
I enjoyed it. Just before we look on to the games upcoming this week, I just wanted to talk actually about some of the things of note in the other regions. Obviously, we know China are actually continuing their games in the upper division, but actually from LAN. And I wanted to ask and talk to you about this as well. So a lot of the interviews from the European division were talking about how they're watching a lot of the China games. And I wanted to pose a question. Do you think because China are playing on LAN that the quality of games are better than the online quality of games everywhere else in the DPC? Do you play better on LAN? George is the question.
We're going to get his answer in about 5 seconds,
Done
Jake.
So it's hard for me to kind of compare.
Yeah.
But I mean, the quality of these games that have been in these tournaments so far has been really good. So
Yeah. What do you think, Jez?
Maybe a little bit, maybe not. I mean, I think they were talking to Yapsaw and they were saying, "What's your favourite team to scrim against?" And he said Virtus Pro, and they've been watching in China anyway. I don't think that's much to do with the LAN. I think it's just in previous times they've enjoyed playing against these teams. So I think it's probably just that the Chinese division is just interesting and fun to watch, and maybe it's a little bit better because of LAN, but end of the day we're in the middle of a pandemic. The fact that we're getting any tournaments, any kind of Dota is a bonus. So
yeah, I mean it's pretty cool. Obviously, like I think the production value seems pretty good over there as well. I mean, obviously I don't speak Chinese, but again, from what it looks like, there's some cool stuff. And I mean, there does seem that I think there was some data mined actually, some info about the upcoming major. I don't know if it's actually confirmed or not. I don't think Valve have made a blog post about it, but they do seem to be kind of going ahead with planning a major when this initial season ends, which I think is going to be around March. I just want to double check what
it must be.
Exact time is, because obviously the league itself kind of culminates to a major. Obviously, the dates end the 24th of March, and I think a major is going to be like a month after that. I mean, assuming that they can do lands in China, and I mean, obviously, it's hard to say with the current global climate and stuff. But I think this major will happen. Whether it will be happen with fans is another question, really. But I think we will see that major happen, or at least we hope so.
What, over LAN?
Yeah, over LAN, which I think is important because otherwise it just simply can't happen, can it? Right? Like you're not going to have online games between China and South America.
Yeah,
like it has to be on LAN, or it just can't happen. So either it gets
I get
delayed,
that.
but then if it gets delayed, then what happens to the second season of the leagues itself? I feel like if it can happen in China, like I think the major will be played on LAN. It might not have fans on, but the players and the games will be there, I think. So that'll be cool to sort of see, but we're still a long way off until that, because the games, still a lot of games to be played on the league. So let's have a look at the this week's upcoming games, shall we? We have on the Tuesday, which is tomorrow, we have High Coast Esports versus Alliance. And actually, before we go on to that, I want to talk about High Coast Esports because they're 0-3 now. I should have mentioned this probably at the start when we were talking about High Coast Esports, but they're 0-3, and I'm pretty sure that means they're gonna get. I don't think mathematically possible, but I think most likely they're gonna be like demoted. I think in this league, they've lost every game they've played against. They played obviously against Liquid, against OG, and against Tundra. They have Viking, Alliance, and Secret to play. So Secret, Enigma, Viking, and Alliance. Excuse me. So there are 4 games left. Pretty sure we think they're going to get demoted. They like the team that's going to.
Yeah,
I would say
probably.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like it's not necessarily that they're a bad team. It's just this EU division is so stacked, and they've won. I think
Absolutely.
they won one match, right, and that was against the OG one that they kind of like threw. So
True.
I think that's pretty. Viking are 0-2, yet to win a series either, but Tundra were 1-2, just above them. But they obviously had a game in hand, and Viking were playing against Secret and Liquid, so the higher teams in the league. I think so. Really, and I want to talk to actually you, George, about this because this OG losing to Alliance, I think, is a really big impactor. Really, because this was the first time in the league where one of the invited teams lost to one of the qualifier teams, which is Alliance. So with OG losing that game actually against Alliance, like they're not technically a shoe-in for that 4th position in the major. If they lose one more series, they might not make it to the major. I don't know what you think about OG, if they can bounce back or what's going to happen, but what do you think? Or
I
just,
don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, I
just
can go. Well, the thing is about this is that we love OG. We know that they're great, but this is one of the things I've always been worried about them. They're so inconsistent because they do crazy things.
Yeah.
I love seeing them,
Yeah.
but because of that, they go and lose a couple of games, and it just really sucks. I mean, we're going to get George's reply in a second, I think, as well. But yeah, it's just one of those things that if they're going to keep trying these crazy strats, it's very entertaining, but we might not see them at the major.
True. George, if you're with us. Maybe George is in China actually, and this is why like the
Maybe that's what
lag
it
is
is.
happening so much.
Ping.
Yeah, maybe the ping is happening. Let's just quickly highlight the game. Sorry, George, to cut you off again, but we'll just kind of keep the flow going. So obviously the game's coming up. High Coast versus Alliance. Like I said, High Coast, if they want to have a chance of staying in the league, they need to win that game against Alliance. They can't have 4 losses on the bounce. Then it's Liquid versus Tundra, an important game for both teams, really. If Tundra want to have any chance of making it into the major, they need to beat Liquid, and Liquid have already lost a series as well. So, this is where I think the league is so interesting, this format, because every game and every series is so important. Then I think probably that will be the game of the week, or the series of the week, Secret versus Nigma. Jazz, you must be licking your lips over that series for sure.
Oh yeah, Secret versus Nigma, and then later on the week, Secret versus Liquid.
Yeah,
it's
a good week for
games.
Secret. Yeah, really.
It's gonna be a great week. Can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, but I think this is probably Secret's toughest week as well, because it's 2 of the biggest teams, in the league. And they don't have too much time to prepare as well. Like normally, these teams are getting 1 week preparation time. Secret obviously play on the 3rd, and then 3 days later they play against Liquid as well. I mean, how do you see it going? Trying to keep your Secret bias in check. Do you think?
Yeah, I think the only thing with Secret is that they play their own game. Yes, obviously they have to be ready and prepared for other teams, but I feel like if Secret get to do what Secret want to do, they're going to win anyway. So they don't have to worry too much about whether it's Liquid or if it's Nigma. But of course, I mean, Nigma especially, I think, is going to be the big one. Although Liquid, again, other than them losing to Nigma, they've been playing so well that it's going to be just good Dota.
Yeah.
And good Dota.
Good notes. Then obviously Nigma versus Viking, and then as you said, the Liquid versus Secret on the end of that Saturday. So no, that's going to be a real big week of games actually.
Absolutely.
So just before we end out, this is actually quite an easy question. Question from one of the viewers: who is your favourite caster and analyst of the sort of season so far that you've enjoyed?
BSJ is a great analyst. Yeah, Fog as well. It is Fog, isn't it?
Yeah, Fogged. Yeah.
The analyst. Yeah, he's really good. And OD Pixel.
Yeah.
That's simple. Really.
Yeah, pretty simple actually. I mean, I like the Kyle just for the memes. To be honest, he's like sometimes I feel
I feel so bad for him sometimes. He gets abused.
I mean, I used to work with Kyle, obviously back in Hon, and like he knows his stuff. But I feel like he's so like at the moment I feel like he's doesn't play that much Dota actually, and I think because of that, like some of the things he says is like feels so out of touch. I think, but BSJ is on point all the time.
Yeah.
But
do we need Purge, by the way? Do we really need
I don't know. We like him, but
sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. Anyway.
Yeah, but
George thinks he's unmuted, but he's still speaking. So
yeah, it's fine. He's muted
think it's
now.
'cause the
Very
internet
nice.
can't-
Very nice. Oh,
No, it's not.
but
Anyway,
anyway, cool. So that's just gonna kind of end it out. I know it was a bit of a scuff this week, but I'm glad we got a chance to do it anyway.
We did indeed.
Any closing thoughts, Jazz? As you're the only one surviving.
this is this is
this
one
podcast.
interesting week. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. We're going to watch loads. I'm actually having to self-isolate this week, so I'm just going to watch and play Dota, and that's all I'm going to do.
There we go. I couldn't think of anything better to do with your week, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Right, that is going to be the end. Just going to leave you with some of the graphics of the win and loss table by Corrupt Bear. So shout out to him for all the graphics going onto it. And I hope to see you next week. Till next time, guys. Keep binding and grinding. Peace.
Thank you.